all, welcome to Spiral Tap Podcast. Okay, this is our pilot episode and we are a Singapore-based gaming podcast and we will be giving you our takes on gaming topics. Now, I'm Dale and my co-host here is Adrian for this week. And just a bit of ourselves just before we start. Okay, I've been a freelance writer. I've been writing reviews for various publications and websites. And Adrian is an artist working at a games company with a studio in Singapore. Just before we get down to our topics of the day, so Adrian, what have you been playing right now?
Yep, so pretty much most of the time for the past 2 to 3 weeks I've been playing Monster Hunter World. I mean that's the hottest game right now. 7 million copies within less than a month. I can understand why it deserves its accolades right now.
Right.
It's really a pretty amazing game.
Okay, I mean for myself, I've been busy in my house, so I haven't actually been playing much. But I've actually been playing Celeste on Switch, and that game is totally amazing. It's just a pity that you can't find it on the PSN store, at least in Asia.
Why is that, I suppose?
Okay, maybe we'll discuss more about that on our topic later in the show itself. But okay, back to just before our actual game topics. What are you looking forward to in 2018?
Right now, 2018, next month, 20th April, God of War.
God of War?
Yes, of course.
Why God of War? Why God of War?
I mean, it's a very different game. It's a very stark departure from the previous God of Wars, where you are a fixed camera, action brawlers, hack and slash. Right now, there's a very deep emphasis on storytelling, a very deep emphasis on narrative, and this new Ragnarok Norse mythology setting really jumps up to me more than Greek.
Greek mythology.
Greek mythology is fun, but not for 6 or 7 games. So start departure, and they could, I mean, it could emphasize less on actually Kratos' story and trying to tell the story around of different things based on what we've seen so far in the trailers. There's probably gonna be quite a few surprises.
Yeah, that's interesting. For me, big Marvel fan, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Hopefully it doesn't get delayed. Yes. I know that's the joke.
There hasn't been an actual release date announcement yet.
Yes.
So we'll wait and see. E3 is coming up in maybe a couple of months.
Yes,
so
but that's what E3 is for, right?
Yes, that's right. So 2018, E3 of Dreams, maybe?
E3 or Dreams.
Once again.
E3 or Dreams. What about November? Are you looking forward to Red Dead Redemption?
Oh yes, Red Dead Redemption 2. Another prize jewel in gaming. Pretty much something that just came out of nowhere early this year with the announcement that we're gonna announce in October, or was it November? But pretty much around that period of time, which is usually the period of time where a giant ass game for the year is released.
Let's just put it in context for you guys who don't know. One day Rockstar Games just put out a tweet. It was just all red and basically said, it was just all red, and it was the most retweeted thing.
Yeah, for pretty much most of 2017 when it was tweeted.
Yeah, so I guess that everybody can say that is probably their most anticipated game, but then again it's too far ahead. Maybe we need to set our sights to E3. That's in June, not too far, 3 more months. We can see how that will go.
Yeah, we barely see any gameplay. It's all been either a pre-rendered CGI trailer or kind of a gameplay in-game cinematic. So actual gameplay information are pretty much not available at this point in time. So we have no idea whether you play like a normal open world Western gunsling game, or it could be something totally different because AAA companies like to fuck with us.
Alright, man, Rockstar Games. Right, the king of hype. Alright, so maybe let's move on to our topic of the show, our first topic of the show actually. Okay, it is basically the digital future. Now, what is the digital future? Okay, we all know what Steam is. Anybody in games knows that is the digital marketplace. Now, the digital future basically for us, for what we are discussing here, basically entails that are physical games going away? Is digital games the future of gaming itself? For myself, I personally believe in it. I mean, the collector in me basically says, well, I'm fucked, but you know, basically my house will now have more space because everything is not in a disc, in a box, that's not sitting around when I'm not using it anymore.
So pretty much the hoarder in you has really died. Been buried 6 feet under to the point since this digital age has come about.
I guess it's more of the advent of how digital has just impacted our lives itself. Like Netflix is a thing now, and Netflix wasn't a thing 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah,
We're probably caught on much faster than we pretty much anticipated in countries around this region.
yeah,
It'll probably take them maybe a couple of 5 to 7 years before Netflix will really actually popular over there, and they feel that it could be a global thing before they really imported it all the way to the other rest of the markets.
yeah.
across
That's
Pacific.
also the interesting point is that basically, we have advanced so quickly that, like Adrian said, we didn't. Over in this side of the world, we didn't know what hit us. Basically, one day we just, oh yeah, it's great, and that's it. I mean, for PlayStation Store itself, I mean, PlayStation is my platform of choice, and one day the store just got really good. We were tied into the Hong Kong servers. We are not using a shitty browser-based web store anymore, because that for the PlayStation 3, in the beginning, when we clicked PlayStation Store, that's what popped up. It was a web store on a browser, and the browser wasn't even that good. Okay, so
And with how technology was back then, it wasn't a guarantee that it will work every day.
yeah,
So
yeah, high-speed internet is now a thing. So yeah, digital future sounds great. Okay, I mean, are there downsides?
there are definitely downsides to it, I feel. I for one, I kind of reluctantly embrace the digital future. I mean, at the end of the day, things will definitely change. The future is always moving forward. So the hoarder in me definitely will want, it's I'm not sure if it's kind of how people over the world has that kind of feeling, but for me, on a release day of a game that I really, really want, going like taking time out after work or after school, going down to the local brick and mortar game store, picking up the copy, having the physical copy day one edition in your hands, really it's a whole different other feeling altogether than actually clicking on the icon and saying, I'm putting in my credit card information, pressing okay, I'll wait for download for the next 1.5 hours maybe, or even less. Right now, how we have like freaking fiber optics nowadays, it could probably take you half an hour to download a full 20 to 25 gig game. Pretty much.
Yeah, but that's also chalked up to the fact that we are old, you see. We are old as fuck.
We're old as fuck. So
Okay, maybe
old
not
and
that.
jaded, that really need something tangible in life to really keep us going.
Yeah, maybe we're not that old, but it still boils down to the fact that after we finished school back in, 20 years ago, after we finished school, what we'll do is we'll go down to the game shop, we'll look at games. Back then we were poor, so we couldn't actually afford the games, but we still can still look at it. When we actually got our jobs, our first jobs, what we'll do is, we'll go in and, buy games. And I mean that's the plus point for us, was actually looking forward to going to a shop to look at the games itself. With internet propagating everything nowadays, I mean, we are on a digital platform. We are on,
We are on the interwebs.
Yeah, I'm working on an internet business. So so the entire thing is, with the internet so widespread and at such a high speed nowadays, I don't see why a physical store needs to exist beyond the fact that collector's editions are still a thing itself. I mean, like I said, the collector in me is dying. It's crying out its last breaths, but
It's bordered with while soil and mud and rocks are being covered over his face.
yeah. So that that's probably one of the disadvantage is that our nostalgia dies with it. But getting back to the point where digital future is a thing itself, I think this advantage that we can see for going forward is that if everything is going digital, the cost of games might go down.
I haven't seen that happening, to be honest. I, for one, see price of games it to be exactly the same as on a digital front. The physical and the digital versions of the game are essentially the same for most of the console online platforms. I mean, in
Yes.
Steam, you definitely can find the discounts, the big discounts every other quarter of the year. So you get your winter sales or your summer sales and shit tons of discounts. Oh, $5, $10. You are pretty much what will pretty much go buying stuff during a big sale.
Yes, but that's also tying back to the advantages. Like I said, even if the cost of the games isn't lower on release, the entire marketplace has a dedicated sales section. It's not dictated by the shop itself. It's not dictated by whether the brick and mortar owners are saying, "Hey, I need to clear stock. Guys, let's just put all of this on sale." No, none of that bullshit. I mean, saying that is actually there's nothing wrong with brick and mortar shops itself, but very much so, sales are dictated by the amount of space that they have and the rent that they need to cover for the month itself. So, I mean, the point that I'm basically putting across is that, let's say if there are no physical platforms available, everything is just digital. I can see the cost of games going down slightly, simply because of the fact that game companies don't have to pay for production of the disc itself, the cases, the larger marketing, because you can just put it out on digital platforms, marketing on digital platforms itself, and basically just say, "Hey, our game is available. You can just click download. It will be available. You don't have to click on the store, so on and so forth." So they don't have to cut a deal with shops. They don't have to, like, say for America, you don't have to, "Hey, GameStop, carry our stuff." No, none of that, because
You cut through the middleman,
Yeah.
get straight to your consumers.
So if you cut out the middleman, logically speaking, cost should go down, and I mean that probably should be an advantage.
That would definitely be if we do see the signs of that future becoming a reality sooner, then yeah, that would definitely be great for the consumers, in the sense that we probably can get games at a much cheaper cost than what we are having now. Of course, at the end of the day, the digital future is in a way a perseverance of the past, because your entire game library of your entire company's history can be brought online, and it will always be there as long as you keep the servers running. So
Nintendo's virtual console.
yeah, which is really an actual nice initiative. Although I haven't really tried it out yet. So, have you?
It's not available on the Switch at the moment. So Nintendo, work on it. I want my Castlevania. I've bought it 6 times. Let me do it again. Right?
Well, we have one who is willing to buy a game even if digital 7 times.
Sucker
So,
for Castlevania.
Yes, but you have market for that. So definitely, if games with prices of games will be brought down to a slightly more affordable or a range where people are more comfortable with spending, that would be better. On the flip side, though, with like one of the biggest examples, Steam,
Yeah.
during its sales,
Yeah.
you probably everything is so cheap. You buy 20, 30 over games. Have you ever finished any of them?
That might be a problem, yes. I mean, the backlog for us might be a bit thick. Especially that we have a luxury that we are working in this line where we are around games all the time. Our backlog is always stacked. We always get, like, for myself, I get review keys, so on and so forth, and you get access, and Adrian, you get access to your company's
The entire library of games.
entire library of games. I mean, there's no guarantee that yes, that we will be able to finish the games like this, but just having it there, I mean, like, for example, I've been busy with my house. I've been touching it up and things like this. yeah, I'm not playing the newest games at the moment, but there are things on the backlog that, yeah, I think, hey, this is a good time to finish it. Or let's say if in about a couple of weeks time I'll be going up to Japan, I'll definitely be bringing up my Vita. I'll be going through my old games, probably some JRPG on the plane first, then after that maybe something else. But that's what backlogs are for. They're always there. I mean, for us, well, it will always be a backlog of shame, but I don't imagine that we are the shining examples of what a gamer's backlog should be like.
Well, I guess there could be worse people than us, majority. So
I mean, for digital future, I mean, we see a lot of advantages there. Okay, but for myself, what I feel is that one of the major disadvantages is sharing of games.
yes, I mean that also ties in a lot to our nostalgia, where how we, when we were young and don't have as much money to spend on games, we'll coordinate with friends in order to, okay, you buy this game, I buy that game. We'll finish it and then we exchange it. There's still that tangible sharing of physical games that we used to have. We could still do it now. We still have the physical
Copies,
the copies to do in order to play with. But with games, if we were to believe in this digital future and we were to move forward to it, how would that change?
Yeah, I think that's something that we can look at until game sharing for digital platforms are more prevalent. I mean, I was sharing with you about a month or two ago that I was going to a sale to pick up a physical copy of Persona 5, and a physical copy of Nier Automata simply because of the fact that I was supposed to lend it to a friend after I finish it. Which is also why I've put off getting the digital copies on more or less on day one as well. So for that itself, I think for me is a major minus point. It's a large con to have. I mean, obviously you could get around all of those issues by like account sharing and things like this, but what if you're not close to the guy? So I'm losing out on.
Yeah, you're letting out your private security information for just to entice another person into enjoying something that you enjoy yourself. So.
Yeah, so for myself, it's like, I mean, that for me, that has been the main minus point for the digital future. Other than that, I guess that for digital future, we had to have a ubiquitous store. Universal
a consolidation of services.
Consolidation of services.
That's the key word.
Yeah, and I guess that ties into our second topic of the day. Okay, is that we are using PlayStation. The PlayStation Network is the PlayStation is our major platform that we are using.
Sony's PlayStation, it's one of the biggest markets of consoles around the region. Most people own a PlayStation rather than an Xbox or any other consoles that is available.
Yeah, we are not talking about Steam here. We are strictly going console based itself. So most of us here, at least in Singapore, okay, we are based. We do have a PlayStation 4, and we use our PlayStation 4 maybe at least once a week.
Yep.
Okay, so the problem with the thing about the PlayStation Store, and this is our second topic, okay, the Asian PlayStation Store. What's our issue with it? Okay, for myself, okay, the Asian PlayStation Store is the Asian PlayStation Store. Here in Singapore, we are tied to the Hong Kong PlayStation servers itself.
Which includes Hong Kong or any of the Southeast Asian region countries that encompass the ASEAN regions. So it's a very large market, and a market that has such a wide variety of different tastes.
Yes, but my main problem is that why are we grouped with the Hong Kong store? Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, the PSN store always feels like a clusterfuck to me.
Yeah, okay. The thing about it is that the main problem that I have is that in Hong Kong, or the Hong Kong store itself, you find a lot of Chinese-based games. That's not to say that I can't speak or read Chinese. It's just that personally, I'm not very good at it. Okay,
Would
my
be-
primary language has always been English. It will always be English.
That's the official language that we use here in Singapore.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your mother tongue, which are the 4 racial languages where we have.
Yeah, so it's frankly quite awkward in a sense that why do we have to put up with all of this? Even if I'm not speaking in a Singaporean term, we are speaking like general Southeast Asian in itself.
Not a lot of
English-
countries are using
Ye-
Chinese in the
yeah.
Southeast Asian region. You
Yeah,
have Thailand, you have Cambodia, you have Vietnam.
Yeah, so English is a universal language per se. Every region, okay, has more or less enforced English to be one of the universal languages. You need to know English so that you can do trading with other countries, at least in the region or internationally as well. So the fact that we are basically bogged down to basically having the Chinese store, it feels a bit awkward. It feels a bit half baked, and it really, it's quite screwed up. Language issues aside, I don't see why there's such a high propagation of like Chinese translated games in itself. Okay, I mean, China has their own PlayStation store.
Yep.
And I don't see why like we can't have a major English language store here in Asia itself when, let's say, people who are playing games in Malaysia, for example, I don't think most of them are going to play their games in Chinese.
Here's the interesting thing. I have a coworker who would enjoy, who would attempt to play a game in traditional or simplified Chinese just because of the fact that it came out earlier. So the thing with the Asian store is sometimes we get Japanese release games in that will have already been translated into traditional and simplified Chinese. They are months earlier than the actual English release. A very good example is Yakuza 6. Yakuza 6 is available as in traditional Chinese and simplified Chinese on the PlayStation Store right now.
Yeah.
So my friend who probably couldn't wait for the actual English release might attempt to go and buy and play that in simplified Chinese.
How's he getting along with it then?
It's kind of interesting talking to him. So for us, most of us, we might not have as much experience playing Chinese based games growing up. But for a Chinese Malaysian residing in Malaysia, they have slightly more access to Chinese based games. Your old Three Kingdom games, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, your old Jin Yong novels, the martial arts novels. So those games are predominantly done in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, or even in Japan, but translated into Chinese. So they grew up playing those games. For us, it may be a bit awkward, but for them, it could be akin to second nature. It could even be more familiar, where you see an Asian guy and you see Chinese words at the bottom, for with Japanese text, but you see Chinese words for the subtitles.
I mean, that's fine and all, but we are still only speaking in broadly Chinese terms itself.
Mhm.
I mean, technically we are Chinese, but the problem is that Asia comprises of more than just Chinese people. There are ethnic Malays, okay, which takes up a large part of Malaysia, which your friend is from,
Yes.
incidentally. So, what about the Malays in Malaysia that don't speak Chinese? They are not going to play a game in Chinese.
Yes, that is the problem as well, definitely.
Yeah. So I guess my whole point goes back to the fact that, hey, large part of Asia doesn't just have Chinese. Okay, most of us here, we speak English. I don't see why we can't be tied to a larger release store that caters to basically all of our needs. Yes, we can go to the US store, we can go to like any store that we can make an account for. Yeah.
There's too much hoops to jump through just to set up an account for a PSN US account,
Yeah.
and a Euro account, and a Japan account,
Yeah.
and whatever other accounts that you need.
Yeah, which brings me back to my point. Is like I can't juggle that many accounts. Sony, give me a universal store.
And if they really want us to move forward into the digital future, they definitely have to consolidate all their services into one store.
Yeah.
But I've been looking through and just comparing how are the races like for the US store and Singapore Asian store. So I noticed a few interesting things. So definitely we have less releases in the lines of indie games in the Asian store. Much less than what you would get in the US store.
Yeah, I guess that's also my problem as well. Like indie games, although we are not as large as a market, okay, I don't see the point of why we can't just get the license and just release it here in Singapore or the Asian store in general itself. Like, you keep hearing amazing games being released. Like, for example, I mentioned Celeste at the top of show. I've been playing that on the Switch. Why? Because I've been unable to get it in the Asian PSN store.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, this is a game. It's a small game. It's a platformer. It's an indie game that got a 10 upon 10 on IGN scale. Yes, I know it's a mainstream media.
IGN.
And IGN, yeah, we get a lot of flag for that. But look, to get a 10 upon 10 for any publication, okay, is not easy.
Yeah, you need to have done something right in order to get 10 out of 10.
Yeah, so it's an amazing game itself. And before this, my major gripe with the Asian PlayStation Store has always been Firewatch. To this day,
Firewatch.
Yeah, it's really, really atmospheric. The way that the story is told,
yes.
It's fantastic. But I can't play it on the Asian PlayStation Store. I can't even find it on the Asian PlayStation Store. I had to go over to the US store, get a US gift card because I'm not American. I can't use my credit card over there. Okay, I need to get an American credit card or a gift card just to purchase the game to play it and see, oh goddamn, this is goddamn amazing. So, there are other issues itself. Like Firewatch aside, there are other games that I harp on to my friends that I can't get in the Asian store. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, like games like Stardew Valley, another
is a Harvest Moon. This is it's the second coming of Harvest Moon basically.
Yeah, then there are games like Oxenfree or Darkest Dungeon or Undertale. These are all games that have gotten critical acclaim.
Indie games, to be accurate.
Yeah.
Indie games that people outside the inner circles of gaming may not be aware of.
Yeah.
But these are games that if they do expose themselves to, they get a wider palette. They get to know, oh, actually games can do this.
Yeah. So generally speaking, it's like, everybody wants the spectacular shit. Okay, everybody's looking forward to a God of War,
the next
Spider-Man.
Call of Duty, the next Battlefield.
Yeah. But let's say if we don't have time for all this. People ask me, so what are you playing nowadays? If I can give them, hey, this is a very fun, simple game, easy to play. You can quit anytime you want, but it won't take up that much of your time. I can just say, hey, go and try Firewatch. It's what, 3 hours, 4 hours?
That's maybe 5 to 6 hours, I think. If you want to go through,
you can find everything, right? Yeah. If you want to trophy hunt for it.
If you want to enjoy the story of a walking simulator style of game.
Yeah.
With a mature and interesting and mature story that is exploring issues that are seldom known. These are seldom explored in the gaming space. Definitely.
Yeah.
Firewatch.
So I'm like, I can introduce games like this to people, but I can't because they are not generally available. If I tell somebody who is just a casual gamer, who I play Monster Hunter with, but they don't play much else, so they're like, so what else is good? Then they're like, I tell them, oh, you just go to the US store, you just go get a Firewatch. It's fantastic. It's a good short game you can play. It's not that expensive as well. Then they're like, oh, but I have to go to the US store, I have to get a
jump
gift
the
card.
hoods and all that.
Then they're like,
shit.
I'm not going to do that. Who's gonna do that? Only serious gamers go, like me, like Adrian. But casual gamers, they're not gonna jump through hoops just to, hey, I'm just gonna get this amazing game.
Just because once someone else says it and I have to jump through a bunch of hoops just to get it. If it ends up he's not that happy or he didn't enjoy the game, he will feel even more cheated.
Yeah. So, there are other examples as well. So, for example, a couple friend of mine, they recently played Overcooked, and they played it on the Switch.
Oh, it's amazing on the Switch, by the way.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm not propagating that the Switch version is much better than the PlayStation version, because I played mine on the PlayStation version. The only problem is to get it here in Singapore at least. Okay, you have to buy the disc. you have to buy
a
the
physical copy.
a physical copy of a digital game on a limited. The disc has a limited run.
Yeah, probably like less than a few thousand copies available.
Yeah, so this is a good game for casual gamers. It's a good party game. But the barrier of entry for, let's say, to get it is so high as to compared to just, the digital future where we talked about and just, I'll click this, I'll buy it. It's what, 10 to 15 bucks? Yeah, no problem. But now I have to go out to find a disc which would probably cost more.
The price usually
Yeah.
for a physical copy, which doesn't even make sense in the first place.
Yeah, like I can't introduce like couple friends of mine to play this game. Like if I want to play with the girl I'm dating and things like this, it's gonna be a hassle.
Yes, I have personally run into this issue where my wife enjoys Overcooked on the Switch from a friend's copy, and has been begging me to get the same game on the PS4. And I've been trying to tell her that it can't be found on the Singapore store, and I don't want to jump through hoops just to get it on the US store. So it is a lot of trouble for everyone. If you really want to widen your entire demographic of gamers, widen your entire demographic of consumers, so they can experience the games all the way from very casual, the parties, all the way to the hardcore. Having a segregated store doesn't
make sense. It doesn't make sense. Not to harp on the point forever, but going back to like casual gamers and like party going and party games and things like this, I think one glaring omission in the entire PlayStation store in Asia is the Jackbox Party Box.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if any of you haven't played that before, it's basically board games in a digital format.
Yes.
It's like quiz style or charades or something like this, but it's basically very, very easy to get into. It's a great party game.
Mm-hmm.
All you need basically is a copy of the game itself and everybody to be on their smartphones, which everybody has.
A smartphone with access to internet and a web browser.
Yeah.
On the phone.
Yeah, so basically that's all you need. The thing about it itself is that like Adrian and I, we've played it with our friends.
We play it quite a bit.
Yeah, we love it. We're gonna play it next Saturday.
Yeah.
So the thing itself is that we can get people into games this way.
There's no commitment. It's just jump in. You have your available, all the essential equipments that you need are available.
Yeah.
All everyone needs is just a copy of the game.
Yes. The problem is getting the copy of the game entails that I have to get into the American store again just to purchase it.
Of course, people will argue that it's available on Steam. Why not just get it on Steam? But
yeah, but you see the main problem is that my PS4 is hooked up to my big screen TV. If I want to gather everybody, I'm not gonna get them to stare at my small computer screen. I want them to stare at the big TV. I want everybody in my living room. I want everybody to be gathered there so that we can all play and hang out and things like this. Yes, it's easy to link your PC, laptop to your
your
TV.
whole entire digital entertainment setup, but with PlayStation's commitment and their continued message of wanting to have to build a PlayStation around this ecosystem or this lifestyle of being around this, sitting around in the living room and playing.
Yep.
If you have to hook up so many different devices, or in order to get your full range of your entire entertainment setup,
then what's your point, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that's the benefits of a console. You just want, when you get home, you just want to sit down. You just want to play games, or then basically you just head to your TV. There's nothing wrong with PC gaming. That's another issue altogether. But most people are not going to link their PCs
to their TV.
So an easy way to get people into gaming is like, you don't have to sit down and stare at your computer for 20 hours.
I'll throw you a controller, sit beside me, and let's play.
It's an easy thing to do. It's let's say for Adrian and I, we've been playing games for 20-ish
I've
years.
been playing games since I have my first breath, so I guess.
For 20 odd years we've been conditioned to we'll sit in front of the TV, we'll get a controller, we'll just play a game. After that we transition into, there was a time that PC gaming was more
had
prevalent.
that dark period of time of PC gaming.
The general issue is that to get casuals into the game itself, like into gaming, Yeah, it's not that difficult. All it has to do is basically making it accessible to all of them. If I can tell people that, oh yeah, all you have to do is just get PlayStation 4, easy, hook up your TV, then all you need is one controller, a copy of Jackbox, and you can have party games. If you host parties, that'll be great for you. It's a cheap investment that most PlayStation owners will just drop their $20-$30 into.
And
easy.
And if it's $20-$30, they will definitely drop it. So I have a lot of friends who aren't even, I wouldn't consider them casual gamers. They just happen to buy a PS4 because a game
entice them to
a game that was in their childhood enticed them, that has a sequel now, entice them to buy a PS4 and together with a new copy of the game. Beyond that, that's the setup. They have no much use for the console even after they finish the game. Which the game in this case is Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
So yeah, you play it, finished. What's next? You are gonna let your console sit there and rot? Are you gonna sell it off?
Yeah, so having a ubiquitous store in this sense, like to make the Asian PlayStation store better, would make so much more sense. As in, you get return customers, yes, or the profit margin isn't that high per se, but every cent counts. So let's say if out of your 10 friends, 5 of them game, alright, 3 of them are playing Final Fantasy 15, finish Final Fantasy 15, but they have not much use of their system. It's just a system that sits there in their home in case their family member plays. But each of them pocks down $30. 3 times 30, you get $90, and we are talking about a small demographic of friends. Okay, so although let's say there's 70 million PlayStation 4s in the world at the moment. Okay, let's discount the fact that most of them that's there is in America, so on and so forth. There is a large portion of us gamers here in Southeast Asia as well. In Asia, to be more specific. Okay, why that's still a large chunk of sales that is not taken into account by the Asian PlayStation, whoever the store manager is. Okay, it's like, hey, enough with anime games. We get it, anime sells.
But
that's
there
fine.
are good anime games, of course.
We do
play our good anime games. We still do enjoy anime games. But in order to really grow a community or grow a market, you really need to diversify. You really need to show your audiences what you have to offer, more beyond what they want. Of course, that will go contrary to what normal marketing people will tell you.
Yeah.
To just give whatever the audience wants. But you need to give them a taste of what is out there.
Yeah.
If you want to grow your audience into a more mature, more that has a much better palate, much better taste, and a much better hunger for a different set of games. You definitely need to open up.
I mean, how do we suggest that it improve the PlayStation Store?
Well, consolidate them into one service. That would be a start. But I will see. Let's backtrack a bit. So we talk about why the store itself and everything else has these issues, but we haven't really asked the questions why. Why are the possible problems that they are stopping them from actually opening up?
Is it licensing issues?
Yeah, is it censorship issues?
I mean, for me, I would guess that it will be licensing. Somebody isn't paying someone enough to get it into a store because the profit margin is low. But by having a universal store, a ubiquitous store itself, I don't see that being an issue. So, for example, Steam has a worldwide.
Yes.
Steam is worldwide. Why isn't the PlayStation Network worldwide?
Steam is just Steam.com. It's not Steam US or Steam.us or Steam.sg or Steam.eu or anything else.
Yeah, I understand that there are regions that you can log on to Steam, but there are also ways to turn it off as well.
You might be blocked out of a game or you have your price adjusted based on your region. But at the end of the day, you still get access to that game. That probably obscure anime, weeaboo game, visual novel game that you will want to play.
Yeah, so
Which
things
you
like
probably can't get
Nekopara.
anywhere else. Yes, which you probably can't get anywhere else.
Don't ask how I know Nekopara.
Yep. So let's keep it at that.
Yeah, so having a universal store solves a lot of those issues itself. So what? You're telling me a licensing an issue over here in Asia?
Or is it a marketing problem, or like people at the top, some head honcho in Sony decides that they are Chinese. I think they will like anime.
that, well, frankly speaking, if the Japanese actually think that way of Asians, that's really selling us short. But I don't think that's the problem. As all the Japanese developers I've spoke to says that, oh yeah, our game is available. The only problem is where is it available? Yeah, so I'm thinking it's not more of the suits on the top, but the people who are managing the stores, the regional stores in the first place. I think they just see this and say, hey, no, the profit margin isn't high enough.
But you have games that are on the store that I would never in my mind see it having a profit margin. Who in the world would want to play Tecmo Koei games that I haven't even heard of until I went on to the store to do my research?
Yeah.
So I found this game called Blue Reflections. So it's a Tecmo Koei game published by Tecmo Koei. I think, if I recall, it was developed by Ideal Factory. Ideal Factory. So it's a Japanese company that does mainly RPGs. So they have their game available in English and Chinese on the Singapore PlayStation Store on 28th September. They have it on the US PSN Store in English a month later, or maybe a couple of days later, in 7th November. Okay, maybe that's more than a month. So yeah,
it's close enough.
Yeah, and so the premise of the game is basically a mahou shoujo game with your mahou shoujos being actual school girls in a modern Japanese.
Okay, so magical girls in a schoolgirls fashion. Yeah, okay, fine. You can play that. Just like shut the windows and if you hear sirens, just shut it off.
But who in the world thought that such a game actually sells more than a game about?
Well, like Firewatch, for example.
Yeah.
It's a game that in the mainstream media, where do we consume our mainstream media is basically from America, right? It's not a game that has received more adulation than Firewatch, for example.
Don't even talk about Firewatch. Another game that I just remember that you can't really find on the local PSN store, The Witness.
The Witness?
Yes, you can't find that shit on the PSN store.
Yeah, it's a fantastic puzzle game.
Yes, it's a puzzle game that has comments of people saying that their grandmas and their mothers love that game to the point where they are playing it hours and hours.
That's actually true because my dad actually played it a bit on my PlayStation. He didn't actually play it per se, but he made a lot of comments about me playing it. Yeah, so it's, I mean,
he is at least somewhat mildly invested.
Yes, because he has seen me play that game itself. So I'm like thinking, you're right. Like these are games that have gotten more attention. Some anime games, yes, they are great, but they are still a very niche genre.
How many anime fans? I mean, it is a big community here,
Yes.
definitely, but it is still a significantly small percentage compared to any other interest groups in the world, in the country.
Yeah, so I think our general point is that for the store itself, when we talk about games, when we listen to other podcasters that is not regional based like us talk about games, we are talking about games like, back again, it's Firewatch, Witness, so on and so forth.
We're hearing all these indie games that people are raving about.
We just can't get it here in our store.
Yeah, the argument we can get it on Steam, but we want to play it on the console because that's how we grew up as console gamers.
Yeah, I mean, after a long day at work, when you get home, you don't want to sit back in the office chair. I want to sit on your couch.
Yes.
I want to sit on my couch and play games. I want to sit in my bed and play games.
Sit on the couch with a glass of whiskey, play some games.
Whiskey. Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
That's the life. That's the high life.
Yeah. So having a console has that benefit for you to sit in your living room to play the games itself. You don't have to be stuck on a PC.
I mean, the whole idea of a console is that it's low maintenance. A PC, you constantly every 3 or 5 years you have to upgrade it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A console, once you buy it, you get access to a huge library that you don't have to worry that you won't have access to until they die off maybe 5 or 6 years later.
Yeah.
After which a new console will come out. But that's the nature of consoles.
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, for us, what we feel is that give us our games. Dude, if the Americans are playing it, we should be playing it. I mean, we are not much different from them. We are still people. We still speak English.
We still grow up with the same kind of cultural references.
Yeah.
Of course not. We have our own set of a mixture of Eastern and Western cultural references.
Yeah.
With the way of how our geography is, but we can still pick them up. It's not like we are not a mature audience that we are stupid.
Yeah.
So we get a feeling that the whole higher ups thinks that we as a market is not mature enough to be able to enjoy these kind of games. That's not fair.
Yeah, and if you set it to a region free, for example, like having a universal store, you wouldn't have to worry that much about profit margins. You see, and on a global scale, all of us will be basically, it's like Steam. We'll just adjust our prices accordingly, and we'll still have people maintaining that on the servers in the back end. But look, everybody gets to enjoy their games. We wouldn't have to go on a half an hour rant on your store not having stuff that we want. And yeah, I mean,
and once in a while, we probably will be able to chance upon something that we might not be able to get access to normally.
Yeah.
Play it, enjoy it, rave about it, and more people will buy it.
Yeah.
It's a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah. So I mean, to tie back from this topic to our previous topic, you want the digital future to propagate. This is what you do. You
Yes.
make a store that is universal.
That
More-
is connected. The whole idea of the internet is the whole world is connected.
Yeah. So
Why not the entire PlayStation platform being connected?
Yeah.
It's global.
So more people playing games, more people buying games.
More money. As
Yeah.
simple as that.
I guess to sum it all up, okay, there are always advantages and disadvantages to everything.
Yeah,
But-
we probably never cover a lot of them. I still have some notes
yeah.
that we probably will cover in a future topic, I guess.
Yeah, that's not to say that our points are the be all end all. Generally, I think what we want to say is that there are advantages and disadvantages to everything itself. Okay, the advantages of having a digital future is basically, we get more shit at an easier rate,
At an easier price point.
at an easier price point, and tying that to our second topic, which is basically, having a better store. We want a better store. The problem with the PSN store in Asia is that it's slightly above average, but it's not.
It's created with a very dictated mindset.
Yeah.
In a way.
So if that gets better, your digital future gets better, and we want the digital future to happen. right?
when something like this is really available, of course.
Yeah. So I mean that more or less wraps up our podcast for this week. We will be back probably in about 2 weeks' time. Okay. As to some of you who are asking if you are able to support the show in any ways, we'll be trying to get this podcast up on as many platforms as we can. Hopefully the iTunes one will be up by the end of April. Yeah, we are still working this entire crap out. I mean,
Yeah.
Well-
This is still our pilot episode.
this is
so
our pilot episode, and hopefully that we can get this running, and you can get to hear us talk more about topics like this. Okay, I'm Dale.
I'm Adrian.
Okay, and we are signing off.
Bye bye.
Bye.